A Gardener's Time-Lapse Journey. The ultimate guide to growing strawberries. From seedling to sweet harvest. Introduction. The enduring allure of the strawberry plant. For centuries, the strawberry has captivated hearts and palates, holding a place far beyond that of a simple garden fruit. Its vibrant red color and distinctive heart shape have earned it symbolic status throughout history. The ancient Romans, for instance, associated the fruit with Venus, the goddess of love, a connection that endures to this day. During the Middle Ages, stonemasons would meticulously carve strawberry motifs into the altars and pillars of cathedrals, seeing in the fruit a representation of perfection and righteousness. This rich cultural history, from mythological reverence to architectural symbolism, underscores the strawberry's profound and enduring appeal. The modern strawberry we enjoy today, Fragaria x ananassa, has a surprisingly recent and serendipitous origin. It is a homoploid hybrid species, meaning it is a cross between two different species, which occurred accidentally in Europe in the early 18th century. The parents of this remarkable plant were the wild strawberry, Fragaria virginiana, from eastern North America, prized for its fine flavor, and the large-fruited Fragaria chilensis from Chile. Botanists noted that the offspring of this spontaneous cross were phenotypically unique and far superior in horticultural traits to either of their parents. This unique interspecific origin went undiscovered for nearly half a century. The new hybrid was then disseminated and cultivated in Europe before migrating to North America and spreading worldwide, driving the agricultural ascendancy of modern strawberry production. This report serves as a comprehensive guide for the dedicated home gardener, an exhaustive companion for anyone who dreams of a bountiful strawberry patch. It is a blend of authoritative horticultural advice and a personal, first-person narrative that follows the cultivation of strawberries from the first plants to the final harvest. We will explore everything from the intricacies of choosing the perfect cultivar to the nuances of pest management and the art of preserving a sweet crop, demystifying every stage of this rewarding journey. A time-lapse narrative. Part 1: The Plan and the Promise. I began my strawberry journey on a crisp, hopeful day in early spring. The air was still cool, the soil just beginning to warm, and the garden plot lay before me, a blank canvas of possibilities. My goal was simple yet ambitious: to grow enough strawberries to enjoy them fresh all season long and to have a surplus for jam and freezing. I've always believed that a truly perfect strawberry is one picked at the peak of ripeness, still warm from the sun, a luxury that only a home gardener can truly appreciate. But as I stood there, 1,000 questions raced through my mind. What variety should I choose? How do I prepare the soil? Is it better to plant in the ground or in a container? The initial excitement was now tinged with the healthy apprehension of starting a new project. I felt a promise in the air, the promise of a future harvest, and I knew that to fulfill it, I needed a solid plan. I turned to my research, a crucial first step in any successful garden project, to lay the groundwork for my future patch. Chapter 1. The Essential Guide to Strawberry Varieties and Selection. Selecting the right strawberry variety is the single most important decision a gardener can make. It dictates not only the harvest time but also the quantity and quality of the fruit. The modern cultivated strawberry is broadly categorized into 3 main types, each with its own distinct fruiting habit. Understanding these differences is key to aligning your gardening efforts with your desired outcome, whether that's a mass harvest for preserves or a continuous supply for daily snacking. Understanding the 3 main types, a comprehensive comparison. June-bearing varieties. As their name suggests, these plants produce a single, large, and concentrated crop over a period of about 2 to 4 weeks. Typically in early summer, they are the most familiar type and are renowned for producing the largest fruit and the highest total yield in a single burst. This characteristic makes them the ideal choice for gardeners whose primary goal is to preserve their harvest through canning, freezing, or making jam. June-bearing varieties are also prolific producers of runners, which are the long, horizontal stems that give rise to new plants. This trait allows a single June-bearing plant to produce up to 120 new daughter plants in one season, making them excellent for expanding a strawberry patch over time. Everbearing varieties. These plants are known for yielding a smaller crop of berries over a much longer season, typically in 2 main flushes. one in late spring and a second in the early fall. While their overall yield may be lower than a June-bearing patch, they provide a more consistent supply of fresh fruit for immediate consumption. Everbearing varieties produce smaller fruit and far fewer runners compared to their June-bearing counterparts, which makes them easier to manage in a limited space or when you prefer to keep your patch contained. Day-neutral varieties. This is a newer, more modern type of strawberry that is an excellent choice for a steady harvest. Day-neutral plants produce fruit continuously from late spring until the first hard frost. They bear fruit whenever the temperature is between 35 degrees Fahrenheit and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Like everbearing varieties, they yield smaller fruit and produce very few runners, making them an ideal choice for container gardens and smaller spaces where regular fresh picking is the main objective. Choosing your perfect cultivar. A deep dive into key varieties. Once you've selected a strawberry type, the next step is to choose a specific cultivar, or cultivated variety, that suits your climate and purpose. A variety's hardiness, disease resistance, and flavor are all factors that can profoundly impact a harvest. The following cultivars stand out for their exceptional characteristics and reliability. For exquisite flavor, Hood. A classic June-bearing variety. Hood is celebrated for its excellent, rich flavor, making it a favorite for fresh eating and processing into jam. While its taste is outstanding, it has poor durability and is sensitive to viruses, often producing for only 1 or 2 years. Mary's Peak. This mid to late season June-bearing variety is known for its excellent flavor, which some describe as having a hint of cherry. It produces large, glossy, and firm berries and is a vigorous, durable plant. Sweet Kiss. An everbearing variety. Sweet Kiss has won many blind taste tests for its exceptionally sweet and full flavor. Its fruit is large, dark red, and firm, and the plant grows well in both the ground and in containers. For high yield and reliability, Ozark Beauty. Considered by many gardeners to be the best everbearing variety, Ozark Beauty is a truly vigorous producer. Its initial harvests yield very large, sweet, and irregularly shaped berries, with more uniform fruit produced throughout the season. EV2. This day-neutral cultivar offers one of the highest yields in its category. It is also less sensitive to warmer temperatures, a key advantage for day-neutral types, and is resistant to many leaf diseases. Honeoy. A very early, June-bearing variety with a low to medium yield. Honeoy produces consistently for 4 to 5 years after its first season. The berries are bright red, firm, and freeze well, but the plant is very susceptible to root rot, requiring careful cultivation. For disease resistance, selecting cultivars with a high degree of disease resistance is a proactive way to ensure a healthy and productive patch. Surecrop is a highly productive and vigorous cultivar that is considered one of the most disease-resistant options available. Red Chief is resistant to 5 strains of red steel root disease and verticillium wilt. All-Star is a late mid-season variety that is resistant to red steel and verticillium wilt and tolerant of leaf diseases. Masabi and Winona are also excellent choices for cold climates, offering both winter hardiness and impressive disease resistance. The surprising origin of the modern cultivated strawberry from 2 wild species, Fragaria virginiana and Fragaria chilensis, gave it a massive amount of allelic diversity. This genetic richness explains why the cultivated variety, F. X. ananasa, originally harbored as much allelic diversity as its wild founders. However, this unique genetic advantage has been progressively narrowed by 3 centuries of intense breeding, which has focused on progressively improving specific traits like fruit size, sweetness, and yield. As a result, modern populations of high-yielding cultivars now show significantly lower nucleotide diversity and heterozygosity. This explains a crucial trade-off. While cultivars like Honeoy offer high yields, they can also come with a notable susceptibility to specific diseases like root rot, a consequence of the genetic concentration that has occurred through modern plant breeding. A time-lapse narrative. Part 2. Breaking ground. With a plan in mind, I moved on to the physical labor of preparing the garden. I chose a sunny corner of my yard, a spot that receives at least 8 hours of direct sun each day. This was a non-negotiable step, as I knew that a lack of sun would mean a lack of fruit. The soil in this area was heavy clay, and I knew that without serious intervention, my plants would struggle with poor drainage. Following the advice I gathered, I started by loosening the soil to a depth of at least 12 inches and removed any large rocks or weeds. Then came the real work. I added several large buckets of well-rotted compost and manure, working them thoroughly into the soil with a hoe and rake. This step felt transformative. The hard, compacted clay began to soften and crumble, taking on a new, rich texture. Next, I planted my chosen bare roots. The plants looked scrawny and lifeless, just a tangle of roots with a small, leafless crown. But I remembered the advice: don't be alarmed. This is how they should look. I dug a hole for each plant, wide enough to allow the roots to spread naturally, and paid careful attention to the planting depth. The most important rule was to keep the crown, the central growing point, right at the soil surface. Not too high to dry out and not too low to rot. I gently firmed the soil around each plant, eliminating air pockets, and gave them an immediate, generous watering to settle their roots. The garden now looked different. It was no longer a blank plot but a place of purpose. The little bare roots, with their exposed crowns, were a symbol of the future harvest. The plan had been put into action, and the journey had officially begun. Chapter 2. Masterful Cultivation. From site selection to planting. A successful strawberry harvest begins long before a single plant is placed in the soil. The careful selection and preparation of the site, as well as the choice of a cultivation method, lay the groundwork for a bountiful crop. Choosing and preparing the perfect location. The environmental conditions of your garden plot are the most influential factors in strawberry health and productivity. Light. Strawberries require at least 8 hours of full sun each day for maximum yield and optimal fruit quality. They are considered short-day plants, meaning they need a photoperiod of 8 to 12 hours of light for 10 consecutive days to trigger flower development. A site with poor sun exposure will result in fewer berries and can make the plants more susceptible to fungal diseases. For gardeners in colder climates, selecting a north-facing slope or a spot on the north side of a fence can delay the bloom, helping to protect the delicate early flowers from late spring frosts. Soil. Strawberries thrive in loose, fertile, and well-drained soil. While they can tolerate a variety of soil types, they grow best in a sandy loam or clay loam with a slightly acidic pH between 5.0 and 6.5. Heavy, clay-based soils can lead to root rot if they remain waterlogged. Planting in raised beds is an excellent solution for improving drainage and aeration in these conditions. Testing your soil at home. For those without access to a formal soil testing service, a simple at-home test can provide valuable information about your soil's pH. You can perform a quick test to determine if your soil is acidic or alkaline. For the alkalinity test, mix 1 cup of soil with half a cup of distilled water. Then add half a cup of white vinegar. If the mixture fizzes or bubbles, the soil is alkaline. To test for acidity, repeat the process with a separate soil sample, but this time add half a cup of baking soda. Fizzing or bubbling indicates that the soil is acidic. A more precise method involves using a soil test strip, which is a small piece of paper that changes color when dipped into a soil and water slurry, allowing you to match the color to a pH chart. Regardless of the method, soil samples should be collected from multiple locations within the garden to get a representative average. Building the foundation with organic matter. Strawberries are shallow-rooted plants, with the majority of their root system penetrating only the top 6 to 8 inches of soil. Because of this, amending the topsoil with organic matter is critically important. Spreading a 4-inch layer of well-rotted compost or manure and working it into the soil to a depth of at least 12 inches will improve the soil's structure, boost its fertility, and enhance its ability to retain water. This step not only provides a steady supply of nutrients but also encourages robust root growth. Selecting your planting system, a strategic choice. The method of cultivation you choose has a direct impact on the ease of maintenance and the size of your harvest. In-ground. This is the most traditional and cost-effective method. It allows strawberry plants to spread naturally via runners, which can lead to larger yields over time. The main drawbacks are that in-ground beds are more susceptible to pests and weeds, and the soil stays cold longer in the spring in northern climates. Raised beds. a popular and effective alternative. Raised beds offer superior drainage and allow for better control over soil quality. They are particularly useful for gardeners with heavy clay soil or in areas with high rainfall. Additionally, raised beds make weeding, fertilizing, and harvesting much easier on the back. Containers and vertical gardens. Growing strawberries in pots, hanging baskets, or vertical planters is a versatile option for gardeners with limited space. This method offers several key advantages. Plants can be moved to optimize sun exposure. They are less susceptible to soil-borne diseases. And the elevated fruit is out of reach of many ground-level pests like slugs and snails. The primary challenges with containers are that they require more frequent watering and lack the insulation needed for plants to survive cold winters, meaning they may need to be replaced each spring. Hydroponics. An alternative for the advanced grower, hydroponic systems, which grow plants in a nutrient-rich water solution without soil, offer a cutting-edge alternative. The key benefits include year-round production in a controlled greenhouse environment, elimination of soil-borne pests and diseases, and reduced water consumption. Hydroponic systems also offer the ergonomic advantage of harvesting from a standing position. However, the initial setup costs are high, and the plants require manual pollination to produce fruit. The art of planting bare roots and crowns. Regardless of the planting method, proper planting depth is a crucial step that can make the difference between a thriving plant and a failed one. The process for planting a bare root or potted crown is as follows. Prepare the hole. Dig a hole that is deep and wide enough to fully accommodate the plant's root system without bending it. Trim the roots, if necessary. Lightly trim the roots to about 10 centimeters, 4 in, to encourage new growth. Position the plant. Place the plant in the hole, spreading the roots out so they point straight down. Set the crown. The most critical step is to position the plant so that the crown, the short stem between the roots and the leaves, rests precisely at the soil line. If the crown is buried, it will rot, and if it is planted too high, the plant will dry out and die. Firm the soil. Backfill the hole, gently but firmly packing the soil around the roots to eliminate any air pockets. Water immediately. Water the plant immediately after planting to settle the soil around the roots. A time-lapse narrative. Part 3. First blossoms. First test. For several weeks, the bare roots I had planted remained unassuming and silent. Then, one day, a burst of fresh green growth appeared. It felt like a minor miracle, a testament to the life dormant within each crown. The plants, now with a few small leaves, began to send out their first, fragile flower buds. This was the moment of my first true test as a gardener. The horticultural wisdom is clear. To ensure a strong, productive harvest in future years, one must remove all flowers and runners in the first year of planting, especially for June-bearing varieties. This practice, known as pinching the blooms, forces the plant to redirect its energy from fruiting to developing a robust root system and a healthy crown. The urge to let a few flowers remain, to see the promise of a small harvest fulfilled, was strong, but I knew that patience now would be rewarded 100-fold next season. With a sigh of discipline, I carefully pinched off each tiny bud, a small sacrifice for a much greater reward. Chapter 3. Year-round care and maintenance. Once your strawberry plants are established, the focus shifts to consistent, year-round care. This includes providing the right balance of water and nutrients, managing the plant's reproductive cycles, and preparing it for the rigors of winter. The crucial role of water and fertilizer. Strawberries are heavy feeders, but an overabundance of certain nutrients, especially nitrogen, can harm them. Watering. Due to their shallow root system, strawberries are susceptible to drought conditions. They require approximately 1 to 1.5 inches of water per week, with more needed during dry, hot spells. The key is to provide frequent, shallow watering while avoiding perpetually soggy soil. To prevent fungal diseases, it is essential to water in a way that keeps the leaves and fruit as dry as possible. Drip irrigation or soaker hoses are ideal for this purpose, as they deliver water directly to the root zone. Fertilizing. The timing of fertilization depends entirely on the type of strawberry you are growing. 4. June-bearing varieties. The best time to apply fertilizer is after the harvest during the renovation period in midsummer. Applying nitrogen in the spring before the fruit sets can encourage excessive leafy growth at the expense of fruit production, and can also lead to softer, poorer quality berries. In contrast, everbearing and day-neutral varieties have a higher nutrient requirement because they produce fruit continuously. For these types, it is best to fertilize with a slow-release organic fertilizer in the spring and then provide additional liquid fertilizer every 4 to 6 weeks throughout the growing season. It is important to avoid over-fertilizing with nitrogen, as this can make plants more susceptible to disease. Nutrient deficiencies. Reading the leaves. A plant's health is often reflected in its foliage. By learning to interpret the signs, you can address nutrient deficiencies before they become severe. Nitrogen deficiency. A lack of nitrogen, a nutrient essential for green and leafy growth, will cause plants to become stunted and yellowish-green. Older leaves will turn a characteristic orange-red or flame color, often starting from the margins and moving inward. Phosphorus deficiency. Though less common, a shortage of phosphorus can cause leaves to turn an unusually dark green and cup downward. The most telling symptom is a bluish-purple tint that first appears in the small veins of the oldest leaves and then spreads throughout the entire blade. Iron deficiency. Iron is a key element for chlorophyll synthesis. A deficiency is visible as interveinal chlorosis, where the areas between the veins on young leaves turn a lighter green or even bright yellow, while the veins themselves remain a vibrant green. Managing runners and patches for long-term health. The management of runners and the annual renovation of the patch are crucial for maintaining vigor and high yields. The runner dilemma. Strawberry plants reproduce asexually through runners, or stolons, which are long, horizontal stems that produce new daughter plants at their nodes. In the first year, it is vital to remove all runners to ensure that the mother plant directs all its energy into developing a strong root system and crown. Once the plants are established, gardeners can either remove the runners to maintain high fruit production or allow them to root to propagate new plants. You can guide runners to an open space in the patch and use a U-shaped wire or landscape staple to pin them to the soil until they root. Renovation of June-bearing beds. To maximize the production of June-bearing strawberries, it is essential to perform a process called renovation immediately after the harvest is complete. This process revitalizes the patch by thinning out older plants and encouraging the growth of new, vigorous ones. The steps include mowing the old leaves off the plants to a height of about 2 inches, thinning the plant population to 6 to 8 inches apart, and applying a nitrogen fertilizer to help them regrow a new canopy for the next season. The winter slumber. Overwintering your plants. Most strawberry varieties are short-lived perennials, and with proper care, they can be productive for 3 to 5 years. As the days shorten and temperatures drop in the fall, the plants begin to go dormant. During this period, the plant is still active, developing the fruit buds that will produce the following year's crop. To protect the plants from winter damage, it is crucial to apply a 4 to 6 inch layer of straw mulch over the patch once the soil temperature drops below 40 degrees Fahrenheit and after 3 hard freezes. This mulch acts as an insulator, mimicking a layer of snow. It prevents the crown from desiccating in harsh winds, moderate soil temperature, and prevents the damaging freeze-thaw cycles that can heave plants out of the soil. In the spring, when the snow melts and temperatures begin to rise, the straw mulch should be raked off the plants and can be left in the rows to act as a summer mulch. A time-lapse narrative. Part 4. The perils of the patch. The promise of the first harvest was soon accompanied by the realities of gardening. One morning, I found a berry that was horribly misshapen. The tip gnarled and shriveled. A classic case of cat facing. A telltale sign of the tarnished plant bug. I also noticed tiny holes chewed into some of the leaves and a few berries mysteriously disappearing overnight. I realized that a successful harvest was not just about cultivation but about a constant battle with forces beyond my control. I had to become a protector of my patch. My first instinct was to reach for a chemical solution, but I knew that a more sustainable approach was a better long-term strategy. I set out beard traps for the slugs, spread diatomaceous earth to deter pill bugs, and carefully scouted the plants for any new threats. I also made a plan to build a small cage to protect the ripening fruit from the neighborhood birds, knowing they would find my berries as irresistible as I did. Chapter 4. protecting your harvest, an integrated approach. A bountiful harvest depends on proactive and integrated pest and disease management. Relying solely on chemical treatments is often a short-term solution that can disrupt the delicate balance of the garden ecosystem. A more effective approach is to create a resilient system where the plant's natural defenses and environmental factors do most of the work for you. Integrated pest and disease management. A holistic strategy involves a layered approach, beginning with cultural controls and moving toward targeted treatments only when necessary. Cultural controls. Your first line of defense. Many of the most common problems can be prevented by maintaining a clean and healthy growing environment. This includes proper spacing. Ensure adequate spacing between plants to promote good air circulation, which helps foliage dry out quickly and reduces the incidence of fungal diseases. Mulching. A layer of straw or black plastic mulch serves several critical functions. It keeps the fruit off the damp soil, preventing diseases like gray mold, and it suppresses weeds. Watering. Always avoid overhead watering and ensure the soil is well drained. Saturated or soggy soil is a primary cause of root rot. Organic solutions. The green approach, for gardeners who wish to avoid synthetic pesticides. There are many effective organic solutions for common pests. Aphids and spider mites. These soft-bodied pests feed on plant sap, causing leaves to curl and turn yellow. Introducing beneficial insects like ladybugs and lacewings is a highly effective biological control, as their larvae naturally prey on these pests. A solution of water and insecticidal soap or neem oil can also be used to reduce populations. Slugs and snails. These pests chew holes in leaves and fruit, especially during wet weather. Creating a physical barrier with crushed eggshells or diatomaceous earth can deter them. A simple beer trap, a shallow dish filled with beer, can also lure and drown them. Strawberry root weevils. These pests cause wilting and poor growth by feeding on the plant's roots. The most effective biological control is the application of beneficial nematodes, which are microscopic, living organisms that attack and kill the weevil larvae in the soil. The nematodes must be applied to moist soil in the early morning or evening when temperatures are above 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Tarnished plant bugs. These bugs cause cat-facing or misshapen and deformed fruit by feeding on the developing berries. They are most damaging in their nymph stage, and 1 bug per 8 blossoms is considered the economic threshold for intervention. Good weed control and the use of floating row covers during the early growing season can help prevent a population from establishing itself. Birds. Birds are attracted to the bright red fruit and can quickly decimate a crop. The most reliable method of protection is to cover the patch with bird netting, using stakes to hold it above the plants so the birds cannot reach through the netting. An old gardener's trick is to place rocks painted red among the plants. Birds will peck at the hard, unyielding rocks, eventually learning to avoid the area altogether. The most common diseases and their prevention. Fungal diseases are a constant threat to strawberry plants, particularly in humid or wet conditions. Gray mold, Botrytis cinerea. This is one of the most common and damaging diseases. It appears as soft, brown spots that develop into a fuzzy gray mold on the fruit. Prevention is centered on maintaining good air circulation, spacing plants properly, and keeping fruit and leaves dry. Powdery mildew. This fungal disease is recognizable by the white, powdery growth that covers leaves, stems, and fruit. It can be prevented by ensuring good air circulation and watering plants at the base to avoid wetting the leaves. The power of partnership. Companion planting for natural defense. Companion planting is the practice of strategically placing certain plants near your strawberries to provide natural benefits, such as pest deterrence or improved soil health. This approach leverages the complex interactions of a healthy garden ecosystem to create a more resilient patch without the need for chemical intervention. Alliums, garlic, onions, chives. Many common strawberry pests, including slugs and aphids, are repelled by the pungent scent of allium plants. Planting onions between strawberry rows or creating a border of chives can create a natural defense barrier. There is also evidence that the antifungal compounds in alliums can suppress diseases like fusarium wilt. Herbs, dill, thyme, cilantro, herbs from the carrot family. such as dill and cilantro, and those like thyme, attract beneficial insects that prey on harmful pests. The flowers of these herbs are a favorite of hoverflies and ladybugs, whose larvae feed voraciously on aphids and thrips. Flowers, marigolds, borage, flowering plants are vital for attracting pollinators, which are essential for a good harvest. Marigolds are particularly effective for natural pest control. Their strong scent can repel deer, rabbits, and many insect pests, and they are known to suppress root knot nematodes in the soil. Borage is another excellent companion, as its nectar-rich flowers attract a wide range of beneficial insects, including predatory hoverflies and parasitic wasps. The research consistently demonstrates that a truly successful strawberry patch is a complete system. By focusing on fundamental cultural practices like mulching and proper spacing, and by strategically introducing biological controls and companion plants, a gardener can create a naturally balanced environment. This integrated approach minimizes the need for reactive treatments and builds a self-sustaining system that is far more resilient to the challenges of pests and diseases. A time-lapse narrative. Part 5. The Sweet Reward. The spring showers gave way to warm, sunny days, and the garden came to life with a buzzing symphony of bees. The plants, now in their second year, were a vision of leafy, flowering abundance. The white blossoms, each with many yellow stamens, were a welcome sight after a long winter. My patience from the previous year was now being rewarded. One morning, the white flowers had given way to small, pale green berries. Each day, I watched them swell and ripen, a process that seemed to happen in a magical time lapse. The pale greens softened to a creamy white, then blushed a light pink, and finally deepened to a vibrant, glossy red. The day came when the first berry was fully red, plump, and firm. I gently pinched the stem, a small twist, and it came free in my hand, its green cap still attached. I brought it to my nose, inhaling the sun-drenched fragrance, and then took a bite. It was a burst of pure, concentrated sweetness, a taste far superior to anything I could ever find in a store. It was the taste of hard work, patience, and a promise fulfilled. The harvest had begun. Chapter 5. From Garden to Kitchen. The Harvest and Preservation. The culmination of a season's hard work is the harvest. Knowing how to pick and store strawberries properly is essential to enjoying their full flavor and extending their shelf life. The art of the harvest. When to pick. Strawberries are best picked when they are fully red. Unlike some other fruits, they do not continue to ripen significantly after they are picked, so it is important to wait until they have reached their peak color. How to pick. The best way to pick a strawberry is to pinch the stem about half an inch above the berry with your thumb and forefinger. A gentle tug and twist will detach the berry, leaving the green cap attached. This method prevents bruising the fruit and avoids damaging the plant, which is crucial for subsequent harvests. Storing and freezing for freshness. Short-term storage. Strawberries are delicate and highly perishable. For short-term storage, it is best to refrigerate them in a shallow container, unwashed and with their caps still attached. Washing them prematurely can bruise the fruit and hasten spoilage. Freezing your bounty. Freezing is an excellent way to preserve a large harvest for long-term use. Preparation. Select firm, fully ripe, deep red berries. Discard any immature or defective fruit. Wash them under cool running water and remove the caps. Freezing whole. Place a single layer of the clean, capped berries on a cookie sheet and freeze until they are firm. Then, transfer them into freezer bags. Remove the air, and seal them for long-term storage. Sugar packing. For a sweeter result, prepare a sugar pack. For every 1 quart of prepared berries, add 3/4 of a cup of sugar. Mix thoroughly until most of the sugar is dissolved. Then pack the berries into containers, leaving headspace, and freeze. Note that sugar is not a preservative but is used to maintain the flavor, color, and texture of the frozen fruit. Classic strawberry jam. A step-by-step culinary journey. Making jam is a timeless tradition that turns a mass harvest into a delicious pantry staple. A classic strawberry jam recipe is a perfect way to capture the taste of summer for months to come. Prepare your jars. Sterilize your mason jars by washing them in a hot dishwasher or by placing them in an oven at 210 degrees Fahrenheit, 99 degrees Celsius. Heat the lids and rings in simmering water. This ensures a strong seal and prevents spoilage. Prepare the berries. Wash and hull your berries by removing the green caps and the small white pithy part just beneath it. Once prepared, crush the strawberries. 2 quarts of berries will yield about 4 cups of mashed fruit. The jam making process. Combine the crushed strawberries with 1/4 cup of bottled lemon juice in a large, heavy-bottomed pot. Gradually stir in 6 tablespoons of classic pectin until it is fully dissolved. Bring this mixture to a full rolling boil over high heat, stirring constantly. Add sugar and finish. Add 7 cups of granulated sugar to the boiling mixture, stirring to dissolve it completely. Return the mixture to a full rolling boil and boil hard for exactly 1 minute, stirring constantly. Remove the pot from the heat and skim any foam from the surface. Canning the jam. Ladle the hot jam into the hot, prepared jars, leaving a 1/4 inch headspace at the top. Wipe the jar rims clean with a damp cloth. Center the lid on the jar, and apply the band until it is fingertip tight. Place the filled jars in a boiling water canner and process for 10 minutes. Adjusting for altitude. Chapter 6. The strawberry in the wider world. Comparisons and context. While the strawberry holds a unique and treasured place in the garden, it is part of a larger family of healthy, nutrient-rich berries. Comparing the strawberry to its close relatives, the raspberry and blueberry, reveals unique strengths and provides context for their place in a healthy diet. Strawberry versus raspberry versus blueberry, a nutritional showdown. All berries are nutritional powerhouses, packed with antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. However, a deeper look reveals that each berry excels in different areas, offering distinct health benefits. Strawberries. When it comes to vitamin content, strawberries are a champion. They contain significantly more vitamin C than raspberries and blueberries, providing most of the daily recommended amount in just a handful of fruit. Strawberries are also a better source of potassium and folate. They contain ellagic acid, an antioxidant linked to anti-inflammatory and anti-cancer properties, and are also associated with lower cholesterol and improved blood sugar control. Raspberries. Raspberries are the clear winner in the fiber department, containing 8 grams of dietary fiber per cup, compared to the 3.32 grams in strawberries. They also contain more calcium, iron, and magnesium. The flavor of raspberries is distinctly more tart than that of strawberries, which are known for their sweetness. Blueberries. While strawberries contain a high amount of antioxidants, some research suggests that blueberries may have a higher total antioxidant capacity. Blueberries are especially rich in anthocyanins, the compounds that give them their deep blue color and are linked to improved brain health, better memory, and lower blood pressure. The evidence reveals that no single berry is the healthiest. The choice of which berry to eat depends on the specific nutrients a person is looking for. If the goal is to boost your immune system with vitamin C, strawberries are the clear choice. If you are seeking to increase your dietary fiber, raspberries are the ideal selection. For brain-boosting anthocyanins, blueberries are the preferred option. This nuanced understanding reframes the comparison from a simple competition into a celebration of the unique nutritional benefits each berry provides. A time-lapse narrative. Part 6. The cycle continues. The summer was a blur of picking and preserving. As the season waned, the berries became smaller, but no less sweet. Soon, the days shortened, and the first crisp nights arrived. The plants, now a sprawling patch, began to turn a deep red, their foliage flattening out as they prepared for winter's rest. I performed the final task of the year, renovating the patch by mowing the leaves and fertilizing the plants, an act that felt like both an ending and a beginning. As I covered the plants with a thick blanket of straw, I reflected on the time-lapse journey. It wasn't just about the fruit, it was about the process. The discipline of pinching the first flowers, the constant vigilance against pests, and the satisfaction of working with the seasons. The garden, which had once felt like a challenge, had become a partner. The plants were now safely tucked in, dormant but not sleeping, their energy stored in their roots, waiting for the warmth of spring to begin the cycle anew. Conclusion. The definitive strawberry companion. This guide has followed the definitive journey of the strawberry plant, from its surprising 18th-century origin to its life cycle in the modern home garden. The successful cultivation of this beloved fruit is a matter of understanding its needs and responding to them with a strategic, integrated approach. From the careful selection of a cultivar tailored to your goals, to the meticulous preparation of the soil, to the year-round vigilance required to protect the crop from pests and diseases. Every step is a part of the larger, interconnected process. Whether you choose a mass-yielding June-bearing variety for jam making, or a day-neutral type for a continuous supply of fresh fruit, the reward is the same: the incomparable taste of a berry nurtured and harvested by your own hands. The journey of growing strawberries is not merely about a delicious treat, it is a lesson in patience, a celebration of natural cycles, and a testament to the simple, profound joy of cultivating something beautiful.